1, 2, 3, 4.
Hello and welcome back to another edition of Lay It on the Table, the Southern Board Game Podcast. Ooh, so darn close with
it was close. I was like, keep going, roll.
With the accent on Southern.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go. Jeez. Well, hi, James. Oh, wait, I should say I'm your host, Joe Mahaffey, and then say, as usual, my partner in crime,
James Engelhardt. Good to see you, Joe.
Damn it, I need to get back into practice.
You've been a busy man.
I am. Yeah, that is true. It's been crazy. But it was funny, too, because for my company,
yes,
the real job thing that we want to talk about here, I interviewed somebody this week. And, you know, how you interview people, you get to check out their LinkedIn. Maybe they check out your LinkedIn. And this person showed up having watched a few episodes of the podcast.
Oh, my.
Yeah, it wasn't creepy at all.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
Well, so let's go ahead and get into it. I know that you have a lot to talk about. I have some things to talk about, and we'll
have some
get into
things.
that.
Yeah.
Pretty soon I'm just going to be the interviewer of James Engelhardt if I don't get back into playing some games here. But my construction project is over halfway done.
That's awesome.
And I did break my toe.
Yeah.
On the construction project because of my own stupidity. No fault of my contractor or anything like that. It was my own doing.
Or undoing. Yeah.
I am on.
That is good. How long did you keep the boot on?
I kept it on a week for sure.
Okay.
And then it began to be a real pain in the ass. And so I began to use Crocs.
Okay.
Because they also keep your foot rather stable.
Well, good.
In fact, I was at the Publix the other day, and one of the managers there, she said to me, "Wow, black socks and Crocs. That's a choice." And I told her, I said, "Well, you know, it's really important to me for all the ladies to know that I am not available."
There you go. That'll take you right off the market. Yeah.
There we go. Exactly. All right, but none of that has to do with board games, so let's get into it. I see we have some news and notes, James. So why don't you get into that?
I was just seeing that Asmodee has had a gangbuster year. Revenue surges to 1.68 billion euro, but it's mostly driven by distribution. So as much as they make games, and they do a fine job making games, they are making more money distributing tradable card games. So once again, Magic the Gathering continues to buoy up the tabletop world in so many ways. It also looks like Asmodee has finally taken note of all of the interesting games coming out of Japan. So they brought Japan brand from, I think, Cool Mini or Not, so Simon, and they're starting a design studio there, and trying to sign on and distribute Japanese games as well. So moving across the rest of that continent and over to, off of Europe, out of North America, over to Japan. So they're continuing to expand. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, and it's great. You know, I mean, obviously distribution is probably a little bit more profitable for them to begin with. They don't have any of the production costs. They just have the logistical costs.
Yep.
They pass a lot of that on to the rest of us, I'm sure.
They do, yeah.
They keep their profit margin right in place. It's almost like gasoline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that was. No, but I thought that was an interesting, like, you know what we're going to do? Distribution. And thinking about, like, Diamond and other companies that have continued to kind of fall, it's like, yep, there's some space there for them.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, just making a little adjustment here in the studio.
You're all good. Yeah. You wanted to say something maybe about Roll20?
Well, I did. So because again, for those of you who are aware, we have a little construction project going here at the house, and that's just consumed so much of our spare time. Mm-hmm. But I have taken a little time because I've never given up my Roll20 subscription.
Okay.
From when we were playing the Curse of Strahd. And I, get reminded every month, hey, you've got your free bonus to claim. You better get in there and claim it. And so I realized, I haven't really looked around the navigation in a while. and they've done some major enhancements. I think that there's this whole notion of there are a lot of virtual tabletop platforms. I think there are people who are really into Foundry.
Mm-hmm.
Foundry is an excellent product. It's typically self-hosted, so you really have to be somewhat technically adept if you wish to self-host it. I have deployed it on a home lab here in my house. I have deployed it on an external cloud platform and just played with it, but I've never really used it real time in a game because there's a lot of tweaks along the way that you have to have the time to do. So that's one option, right? One of these are not all the options, of course. One of the other options, of course, is D&D Beyond. We used that a lot, not so much for the role play tabletop as much as we did for like your character sheet and keeping track of your hit points. And so we tended to use that in concert with Roll20. And now I've seen that Roll20 has got a lot of that infrastructure in place with more modern designs on the character sheets and just the interaction that you can get with it. And even some of the enhancements of the experience to make it not so much like a video game, but at least make it a little bit more interesting for the players, as well as in constantly improving their fog of war, etc. And then, of course, D&D Beyond is rolling out their subscription. I still have a subscription there, but I don't have like the top tier subscription. I just have the one that protects everything I've purchased, because I think if I end that, I think I lose access to those electronic books, which I think is kind of there's probably going to be a class action lawsuit that fixes that at some point, so I may just wait for that before I make that move, because that's technically not how digital content should work.
Indeed.
Or at least I should be able to download it and use it locally. Anyway, I don't want to get too far over my skis on that, but my whole point in bringing this up is I spent a little time inside of Roll20, and I was just very impressed with the expansion of the universe, because evidently they bought another platform that you can also execute on, but it's kind of universal in the sense, if you wanted to play the Critical Role platform, whose name is escaping me, it's over my shoulder and I'm not going to look back to see it, but if you wanted to play that versus
Dragonheart or
Dragonheart, that Daggerheart.
Daggerheart, there we go. Yeah.
So if you want to play Daggerheart, you can do that. If you want to play a lot of the other games, I think what Roll20 has done in my mind is, we go back in time a couple of years for this podcast when we were talking about the OGL, and it just caused an explosion of people doing their own thing. I think Roll20 is best positioned to be a universal platform that allows you to pivot around those different games, because they're not trying to steer you in the right direction. They're just trying to enable the gameplay. I know virtual tabletop gameplay can be a little bit controversial because a lot of people like to get together in person, but we do obviously live in a world where people don't always live in the same town.
It is true.
And in some places it can take you a long time just to go across town.
Also true.
So anyway, just some observations from my standpoint, because I think eventually we're going to get back into some sort of an RPG, particularly since there's new Strahd content that they've been releasing on Roll20.
Okay.
Maybe they didn't kill him.
He's still
around in the slithy toves, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it can be.
So that's just sort of my observation on the virtual role play tabletop environment at the moment. So we'll see as it continues to evolve. Obviously, it's just going to continue to get better. I just want to see it get better in the way that enables the intention behind the game and not turn it into a video game. And I think that that's really where the fork in the road is going to be between D&D Beyond and Roll20 in particular.
Okay. You think one of them is going to go more video game style and the other is going to stay virtual tabletop
I mean, you're already beginning to see that and what D&D Beyond is doing in Hasbro. I mean, they're obviously they've laid off a lot of their staff.
Yes.
They're fighting off a union right now, I think, at least on the Magic side, I believe.
Oh, I think that's right. Yeah.
So, but I think that, if you look at the way that they're structuring their platform, I don't think it's going to be quite the, by the mods that Cynthia was hoping for, but I think that they've established what their new North Star is.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Cool. Well, back in not virtual places, I did get a chance to take my gaming interest to MAX this year, even though my class didn't make. So I have a colleague who teaches a class about using Photoshop skills to design creatures. He likes to make creatures and does some animation with them, but also to think about design in general. So I took a stack of games to this guy's class, and we just went through and talked about the rhetorical space of each of them. That is, like, who's the audience and how can you tell, right? Mm-hmm. So we had a good time just like looking at like adult to kid pairings. So I had the kids version of Quacks of Quedlinburg and the adult version, and like put the two up and then look at the different color schemes, right? The Ticket to Rides, the My Little Scythe one is always hilarious because it's, you wouldn't expect Scythe, right, to have the kid version of it. So, but that was fun.
I've seen it. I've never played it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's super cute. You're trying to get apples to make apple pies kind of vibe, but then you can get into pie fights. So that's the only fighting that you do is throwing apple pies at each other. Yeah. So, but just looking at like art styles, color schemes, the general character designs, whether something like the cover of the original Quacks is kind of cartoony, but still very realistic, sort of almost versions of like comic bookish. But then the kids version, it's, big round faces, big round eyes, that kind of stuff. So
right.
Looking at those kinds of things. And even opened up the rule books, took out pieces like, look at all the art stuff that goes along with this, all the design stuff that has to go into this, how different art can be used at different times. And like, so you've got one character that kind of shows up on a card, but then it's also used to illustrate a rule or something, right? So looking into how all that art gets used. And it was great. At one point, the instructor wanders over and is like, okay, can you just got 2 left. That's great. We can wrap it up shortly. I was like, yeah. And we had been there for 2 hours. I had no idea. It was hilarious. And some of the the students weren't dropping out either. Like there was only like 8 of them. So very engaged. And some of them hung out after class to keep talking for a little bit. So it was a good time.
Yeah. I am just out of curiosity. Did the topic of AI design come up at all?
Not really. We didn't. Yeah.
Just
no.
Curious.
Yeah, we were just looking at, so much of this material was just new to them generally, looking at these objects and thinking through. And they were also practicing the stuff that they had learned over the last couple of weeks. Like, oh, this is a cool, this is warm, this is,
gotcha.
How do it says to me cozy. How do I know it says cozy, right? So going through that kind of stuff. Less about like what kind of jobs or what kind of work you would necessarily do, but just what's out there and how can you even think about it?
Yeah, well, I think one of the, we just a few minutes ago, we talked about Hasbro and some of the challenges that they have with their folks. And one of the things that they're trying to get organized around is the fact that they don't want to be replaced by AI in terms of creating this content. And anyway, we won't turn into that topic today, but I was just curious if it come up in the discussion.
No, I think they were just having a good time looking at the materials and just, yeah.
But nobody played a game.
We did not. We took out objects, handled them.
Alas.
Yeah.
Did you look also, last question on this. I
sure,
know
man.
About the visual, but I'm curious, did you also talk about the design of the inside of the box and the design and placement space and how all that is functional and so on and so forth?
Yep. Right, because some of them are just an empty box with, you have to organize them yourself.
Rattle versus,
yep. Yeah. But like the, for instance, the My Little Scythe has great injection molded interior with like lift out trays and stuff. So,
well, it's a Jamie joint.
It is. That is true.
I'm coining that phrase right there. So,
yeah.
It's like a Spike Lee joint.
Exactly. I was with you there. Yeah. Yeah. But no, it was, so we did point that out and point out the different ones that had sculpts. So I have the 3rd edition of Fury of Dracula, which has the little pre-painted miniatures that go into it. And then other ones that didn't have that or just had, cubes.
Mm.
Who doesn't love a good cube?
Okay, I said last question and I lied because this is my last question. Did you
All right.
take games from different years to kind of show the progression of the industry and how people like Beth Sobel and
Right.
others have kind of had an impact? Sundara Tang, is that her name?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Got 2 right. Wow.
Hey, yeah, man. No, that's good. That's good. This is all good. Yeah. We didn't. I was organizing it around different styles.
Sure.
Right.
No,
and trying to find different, many different, like, since the class is about characters and monsters and, how to design those
gotcha.
in different ways. I was trying to, focus more on.
Now you know
that.
what I'm curious about.
Oh, yeah. No, and it was, I did have some, and we talked about some of the like political questions around it too, like the lack of women on game boxes, the lack of people of color on game
women
boxes.
get all the comic books.
Yeah. So we looked at some of that, but that didn't come up. That would have been good as well. But we were just doing a whole lot of show and tell and having a lot of fun. Just like, wow, here's all this stuff. So, yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, and then I have also played some games over the past couple of weeks.
I see that.
Yeah, and we're gonna start with the newest and work our way back. Start with the smallest and work our way bigger the whole time. So the first game, this was from a couple of weeks ago that we played this, but this is Da Da Da.
Is it from the Police?
Da Da Da. I know, right?
Yeah.
It's Da Da plus a Da. I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's designed by Gustavo Secchi, Guimieres, something like that. Lee McGurr, TJ Spalti, and Julian Spinelli. I'm on much firmer ground with the rest of them.
There you go.
And this is published by the Op here in the States, also Pegasus Spiele, and my favorite game company name I found so far, L'Espadon Insouciant, which is something like the Carefree Swordfish.
Okay.
Yes. So, and this is from 2024. This is it's a little box. It's a cooperative party game in which you invent a nonsense language based on these single syllable sounds that are on cards. You get a stack of cards. You flip some over, and line drawings of familiar objects, also on cards that you flip over. You start off, you get you have a stack of 5 sounds, and then 13 objects. And as a group, you decide which sounds go with which objects. And you're not using actual language at this point. You're just getting, so you might have like the letters VO, so VO. And you've got like an object's like a bike and a boat, and somebody slides those 2 over to there and says VO. You're like, VO. Everybody just kind of nods, thumbs up, whatever. Then you flip over a letter and sound Zem. So somebody puts a bird and a plane near it, and then someone looks at it and moves the airplane between the VO and the Zem. So now you've got VO-Zem, Zem. Yeah, and yes. So you just keep doing this. And then you sort of set them all 13 out there. And then and you kind of hope you're all on the same page about these things. And then it gets crazy because the first clue giver draws a new image, and then as a target card, and has 5 more, shuffles them up, puts them out in front, and then says like Zem Zem Vo. And then the rest of you around the table look at those 6 cards and try to decide which one the clue giver is talking about and move it to the appropriate space. If you do that correctly, hooray! If you don't, and it goes into a score pile. And if you don't, that goes into a WTF pile. And if you get 2 cards in the WTF pile, you all lose. And otherwise, if you can go around without doing that, you win. And of course, with games like these, the real fun then is the after, right? Where you're like, okay, so I thought that was travel. Like, no, I thought this was wheeled things. Huh, well. And so you go through and kind of do the autopsy of what you all were thinking. And sometimes you can say, I thought there was all these, and that's why these all went there. Like, no, I was thinking it was something else. But you all made the same correct choice, but for entirely different reasons. It's a thinky little party game. It's going for laughs and mass confusion. as you try to talk in a nonsense language you've been building together. Small box, low price point, definitely one you could take to the beach with family kind of thing. So yeah, worth having a look at.
What's interesting about it as you were describing it to me is it reminded me a lot of that YouTube channel I like to watch called Rob Words, where he talks about word origins. And you know, a lot of times he'll talk about the similarities between the way that the Anglo-Saxon language was before the Norse come over, right? And how much of these sounds were very similar, you know, from the Proto-Germanic or whatever era. And it's just interesting that you're playing out in a game something that pretty much sociologically actually happened.
Yep, exactly.
That's an interesting mechanic.
No, it's super fun. And if you are a kind of word nerd or interested in, I mean, you don't have to be, but if you are, I think it adds an extra level of like, oh, this is how language does come together. It's really fun for that. And again, you have these moments where you're like, Zem, 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 Vo, Vo, Vo. Like, and because these are the only things you're saying. So yeah.
There you go.
So you find yourself saying ridiculous things, which is also part of the charm.
Yes. Well, I always say ridiculous things, so I would probably do very well at that game.
So there you go. It's all good. Yeah.
And up next is my favorite breakfast cereal,
Applejack. Yes, and I always hear this whenever I say the title. Then I start thinking of a particular Billy Joel song, and I think that Applejack will get you high tonight and take you to a special island. So yeah, it is. And so then I bounce back and forth between the theme song for Applejacks and Captain Jack. So it's always a weird.
Captain Jack's a great song.
It is, yeah. So this is an Uwe Rosenberg song. It's a Uwe Rosenberg joint. Yeah. So the game builders over in Europe and Stronghold Games here in the States. This is from 2022. And this is a pleasant, lightish tile laying game in the Uwe Rosenberg tile laying series that starts back with Patchwork in 2014. In this case, we're building an apple orchard in the form of little hexagonal tiles that come with a couple of different apples from like 1 to 3, maybe some flowers and some beehives on the edges. It's pretty straightforward. On a turn, you move a die around the shared board that has little tiles rayed out from it. And this tells you like which spot you're on, tells you whose turn it is, and then which apple hexes you can draft. And the center board also tells you which ones you're going to score. And you'll go through that center board right about 2.5 times before you end. But when you buy a tile, you can set it anywhere you want to on the board. So it's not like you have to have connected things. You can just put them wherever the hell you want. But you want to like keep varieties of apples together, right? So this tile might have a blue and a yellow, and there's another here with a red, and there's this pink, and then there's another blue, and you're like, oh, but I want to put so you really want to keep the like blues together and all that kind of stuff, which is going to be the challenge as you keep going. And then you pay with honey. Who knows? But anyway, honey is the money to buy the tile, and the cost is indicated by those beehives. But then when you place it down, and this is another reason why you might not put it just anywhere, you get honey back for having lined things up. So, and you get the lesser of the amount. So if you pay 5 to buy a tile, line it up with a 6 beehive, you get that 5 back. So it's not punitive in terms of like keeping the cash not flowing. You get a lot of cash coming at you if you're thinking about it right.
Right. No, I got you.
Yep. The game ends when you reach this designated spot in the center board, which, as luck would have it, coincides with you pretty much filling up your orchard. Then there's some final scoring, and most money wins. It's got some nice strategies. You keep those varieties connected, as I said. Looking ahead, see which varieties score next, and making sure that you're getting some of those into your orchard. And you've got some choices, some decisions, which hex tile you're going to place, but there's not going to be that many of them. And where you place it, again, it's still a decision. None of this is mind-crushingly hard. And you can only kind of slightly vex your opponent, right? By like hate drafting, like, I see that you need this other blue and I'm going to grab it before it gets to you. But that's kind of about it. It's a solid addition on the lighter end of Uwe's oeuvre. I just wanted to say that. Uwe's
You
oeuvre.
did a nice job with that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And there's different center boards for each player count. So it'll change, as you go. And then if you've played it for a little while and you want to crank it up a bit, there's some tweaks to make it more interesting, including the flip side of the B side of the player boards, which are asymmetric. So it's a nice little filler. It works really well with 2 players. It's you burn through the apples pretty quickly. So yeah, nice bit of fun there.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would imagine that I like to know that it's a good 2-player game because me,
Yes.
I'm always looking for a good 2-player game. And Dale and I really enjoy the tile laying genres. We're big into Cascadia. We like Carcassonne.
Yeah.
Varieties of those, So.
And Patchwork is a fantastic, 2-player. And this one, and you can play with more, which is nice. So if you've got, the daughters over or friends and people are like, it's super straightforward to get into. The only tricky bit is that you are assigned, and when you go around the table, you're assigned a shape like square, triangle, star, that kind of thing. And so as you go around the board, it basically tracks, all around the board, right? So it's like, it'll be star, circle, square, star, circle, square. So I'm the first player, I'm star, you're the circle, you're the square. But it's easy to lose track of this because you don't have any piece in front of you that says, you're the square, you're the circle, you're the star, right? So I made some. Just like, okay, I'm the square, you're the circle, let's go. Because, you get to talking, you go up to get a, refresh your beverage, you take a bio break, and you come back down to the sit, and you're like, okay, whose turn was it? I don't know. It's on the square. Who's the square? Yeah. So that's just an interesting graphic design oversight. Should have brought that to the class.
See, you should have.
Yeah.
Time to go back in time.
Yeah. Oh, well. But it's a comfy, cozy little game. You can sit down and knock it out pretty short period of time, and you got some fun decisions, but nothing that's going to like bake your noodle, as they say in the Matrix.
Yeah, that sounds good. And then now this other game I'm very familiar with.
Oh yeah,
I even have the expansion.
Ooh, what is it? The Fall Orders?
Yeah, the Fall Flavors or whatever. But yeah. No, we love Honey Buzz. Honey Buzz is a lovely game. But I don't want to steal your thunder. So
no, it's good. Yeah, so this is a Paul Solomon designer. Elf Creek Games published it back in 2020. So to remind you, we have gone back farther in time the whole time. So now we're in 2020. And we've ramped up the complexity the whole way through. But this time we still have beehives and hex tiles. So we're trying to keep a theme going. This has a bit more thinking going on. And also the hex tiles in this case are double-sided, so like dominoes, which you'll be placing out to form your hives. But alas, you're not going to collect apple pollen or apple nectar. That is not on your table there. So I like this. It's a nice blending of worker bee placement and tile laying. Once again, the tile laying. And it's interesting to see how those two, the worker placement and the tile laying, are connected. So we've been playing a lot of this recently, so it's pretty fresh in my mind here.
Yeah, no, it's one of our favorites. I mean, it was one of those games that we like what we call the birds and the bees games.
Oh yeah,
so that's
Wingspan, Honey Buzz, yep. And I feel like they're so different, but both so fun.
And there's another game, and the name of it eludes me at the moment, that is also a bee-based game, but I think Honey Buzz, I don't own it, which is why I can't think of it, but I've seen it in the stores and I've looked at the back of it, and I think Honey Buzz has got the better play on this in terms of the way a beehive actually works, the way you grow the bees, meaning more workers is what I should say. And just all the different things that you're doing along the way to kind of to really build out that hive and then get the right kind of honey and
fulfill those market orders and
yeah. And then the bits that come with it are very high quality.
Yeah, so I'll walk through this a little bit for listeners who might not be familiar. So that you've got your worker bees, and you start in a 2-player game. You start with 1 worker, so this goes pretty quick.
Like culture.
Yeah. Yep. You're like, oh my god, how am I going to do anything? So your workers go onto a shared board that has little action area, well, tile drafting areas, really. So you go to one of those spaces, you draft the matching tile, you put it with these other little domino hex dominoes. And you're always matching yellow sides. There are white and orange sides as well, but those create sort of negative spaces, open spaces, an empty hex. And that pattern of white and orange is going to tell you which nectar you can drop in there, if you do drop it in there. And the hex dominoes have 1 blank half and 1 action half. And when you've made that nectar spot, that hexagonal gap, whether you, again, fill it or not, you do all of the actions that are surrounding it, which can be big. You can do a lot of stuff. But it also means that you're frequently placing a worker and then taking the action, but not always. So you'll place your worker, grab that tile, put it out. It might trigger actions, it might not. And I think this is a really interesting part of the game, right? Because it delays things. Like, I want to do this. Like, not this time, Barbara. Right. So, and there are a handful of actions. We don't have to go into all of them, but one of the key ones is forage, because there's a forage board. So they'll go over there and do that and collect either nectar or pollen, which you'll then need to take to the market, which is the other part of that big central board. And when you do that, you can either fulfill one of 3 face-up orders, or you can sell all of one type of honey or all the pollen you got. So there's a couple of systems that are intersecting, right? The worker placement, that tile spatial puzzle of how to make those spaces, the gathering resources thing, the selling and fulfilling contracts. It's a medium amount of stuff to deal with. And so then you keep going until either all but one of the order slots is empty, or 4 of the 5 market tracks have reached the bottom. So if you really want to, you can hammer on one or more of those actions that just make things drop and end the game really quickly. You get most of your points during the game. There's 3 goal cards, one of which you will score in-game and 2 others at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Trade everything in for money, and then money is how you win. And as you were pointing out, the production is amazing. The art by Anne Heidseek is just adorable.
Right.
These really sweet little.
It's like influenced by Blind Melon.
With the girl in the honey. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. But it's this really soft kind of children's book animals.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very family friendly game. It's very acceptable to all ages. And I think, that's, to me, that's very indicative of Elf Creek's style.
Mm-hmm.
They have, they're very graphically oriented. And I believe Elf Creek is the one, correct me if I'm wrong, that lists their other games around the perimeter of the board, or of the box rather. And so there's like cities and some of the others that are inclusive on that box. And I kind of like that too, that you kind of know.
If you like this one, come and check these other ones out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or
what's funny?
Other works by James Englehart.
Yes. And other. So what's fun about the Honey Buzz, because we've got it open now, is that all of those titles that are around the sides of the interior sides of the box are all in honeybees. So it's got Atlantis Rising, but bees as the figures instead of the It was
great call out.
Super fun. I know. I looked at it. I was like, oh, I should have brought this to the class as well. Well. Pretty soon I'd be bringing 500 games. Like, here, kids, watch this. Yeah.
For the next 12 hours.
Buckle up. Yeah. But the other thing that's amazing is the honey pieces. I mean, the pollen is nice. It's this nice plasticky. It's funny shaped.
Just don't eat them.
Don't eat them. But the honey, it's this squishy, almost sticky, like plastic capsule in different shapes and colors to correspond with the particular kinds. Yeah.
See, I think what they need to do is the Elf Creek folks, if you're listening, You need to get a like licensing agreement with Jelly Bellies
Oh, that would be
and
good.
get like the Honey Buzz Jelly Belly package because then people could consume them at the end of the game and then they have to buy another package.
And yeah, I have
It's
to
like
buy a
Waited
refresh
Layers,
pack. Yeah,
you know.
yeah. I mean, but the game has a lot of fun little puzzles. I've been losing to Laura consistently so far, but like one, like I needed to do one more of the like final scoring, the like 20-point scoring thing. It's like, that's kind of the difference because if I had gotten it and she had lost it, we're within like 15, 20 points of each other and that would have switched the game. And it's like, well, there it is.
There you go.
So yeah. Yeah, lots of fun stuff going on.
Yeah, no, it's I'm glad you brought it back up because it's one of those that, we're always thinking about what should we play? And, we're like, it's almost information overload.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine what it's like in your house, but I mean, like here we're sitting with like 300 games, and it's like, okay, what do we want to play?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's like, oh, that's a pain in the ass to get out on the table.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, it's still in shrink wrap.
Been too long since I read the rules. Yeah.
That doesn't bother me as much because we find ourselves, between a 3-minute board game or the
Oh, right. The rules.
in about 3 minutes. Yeah, he's great, and usually you can find a Rodney or somebody that can quickly in like 10 minutes or less
Gonna get you up to
get you
speed.
back in, and then once we kind of go, okay, I remember now. Let's go. Let's just go. Let's get it going. Oh, wait, I forgot something. I get this point. I'm now winning. Sorry, I forgot that.
No, you
point.
can't do that. You don't get any points. Yeah.
Yeah. We've had that. We've had that conversation once or twice. Or I'll think this is usually how it goes. I think I've told her the rule.
Right.
Or I will do something based on the rule, and she's like, I didn't know you could do that. And I'm like, yes, you did. I told you we could. And she's like, no, you didn't. And I'm like, well, it's in the rule book.
It's on my little script for, yeah. Yep. And I mean, I also, I understand that I'm giving you 40 rules at a time. So if one of them drops out, yeah.
Well, and it's, but the thing is, it's also about the difference in the way, oh, hello there.
Hey,
it's also very different in the way that, that Dale and I play games. Because usually she will look at all the components that the scoring is like. There's in-game components like if we were playing Wingspan, it's like, okay, what are the goals per round,
right?
How many eggs do I need, and yada yada yada. What are my bonus cards? So she's got it all figured out. It's like you can just see the math flying through the air as she's figuring out her strategy, whereas me, I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna point salad this bitch.
We get to the end. We can do.
When I think I've got an advantage, I'm gonna push the end game
fast as I can,
her before she can. And when I typically win the game, it's usually because I have successfully done that.
It's funny, you were talking about the pieces on the boards and stuff, and like, what's going on? And it was fun to bring out these big board games for these students, just to go back to them a second, because like, okay, we pick out a game like My Little Scythe, which just has hex, it's a big hex map. And they're like, oh yeah, sure, you're just going to moving around, right? And then we brought out Arborea, which is this giant, amazingly produced, incredibly intense art. And it's all a fantasy world where nothing looks like anything. So you're like, there's this frog rabbit creature. I'm going to go there. And you kind of lose track of like who's supposed to be what, right? It resists interpretation, right? But we also looked at Unconscious Mind, which is about, so they look at the cover of Unconscious Mind and they're looking at it and they're like, oh, this looks like, is this a psychiatrist? Is this about like Freud and shit? I'm like, yes. Like, just by looking at the box, they're like, is this a game about Freud? It is. So awesome. And just thinking about that legibility, right? So we opened that game board, which is also, there's a lot going on, but they're like, no, here's the map where you're going to go around here. Oh, look, it's the map of Vienna. We're going to go here. Then there's this coffee house. You're going to do stuff there. Got it. And I know what's going on. There's coffee. There are buildings. Yeah. And so we were talking about just the ways that you can look at a well-designed board, right? And this is Ian O'Toole, right, who does a great artist as well as designer. And you just immediately feel more comfortable. Like, okay, I got my hand on this.
Yeah, no, that's great. This last one definitely
Yes.
has my attention, and there's a reason why it has my attention. I don't know if you're aware that friends of the show, Keeners, are big into this series.
The last week of summer?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a series? Okay.
I believe so. Yeah, this is hold on. Let me just double check.
Okay.
Let me click on this. I thought it was the mixtape, same people that did the mixtape.
Yeah.
Is
And
it?
this is I think a one-off for these people.
Oh, it is. It's got the same design aesthetic. Okay, my bad.
No problem.
My bad. I take back everything I just said.
All right. Well, maybe I can introduce.
No clue what this is.
It's about the summer of 1986.
I was watching Top Gun.
Yeah, I mean, we all were.
Listening to Kenny Loggins.
Yeah. So why it's set in 1980, like the summer of the setup is you've just graduated from high school. It's the summer of 1986, and I was like, holy hell! I graduated from high school and had the summer of 1986 before heading to Wofford College. Still not a sponsor.
Yeah, but I was just finished my first year.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah. So I don't know why they picked 1986 particularly, but there it is.
I think I just told you Top Gun.
I mean, Top Gun, but there were so many other, crazy fun movies that were, yeah. Anyway, so it's a lot of mini games themed around teen life in the mid '80s.
Okay.
I know it feels a bit like Rock Hard in terms of like doing different things in different areas, and needing to go to work at least a couple of times because that's another thing you have to do. But also a bit like Fromage in terms of the multiple kinds and like styles of games. So there's a lot of different stuff to do there, though they all kind of make sense. Like there's a tile laying area control game that's about graffiti.
I didn't know
There's
about graffiti back in the.
It feels like you. There's one that's about going to the video store.
Yeah,
which I remember doing a lot that summer. Yeah,
actually, but I worked in a video store.
I worked at a video store, but after I graduated, so Wofford. So yeah, I know. But the video store one, it's Moncala, where you pick up this little stack of video cassettes and then drop them off, and then the final spot you grab up all the videos in that spot. I don't know why. It doesn't seem to line up with anything video-ish, but whatever. It is hilariously garish, as you can see as you're clicking around, which is always reminds me that's more of the like things you would see on MTV as opposed to things you would see at people's houses.
Yeah, it's very Miami Vice colors.
Yep.
Which was already long in the tooth by 1986, if I recall.
Yeah, and the dynamic triangles all over everything. And the Kickstarter ended in September 25, and the latest update on the Kickstarter page is that they're fulfilling as we speak. So maybe it will be in stores soon. Something to look for the last week of summer. But since it was 1986, and I figured that was a year we had in common. So
that is a year that we both are aware of. Yeah. We are both aware of that year. Let me see here.
I know that friend of the show, Ben Griffith, will also probably perk up at 1986.
Well, yeah, because he was also graduating around the same time.
Yeah, I think this is in his junior year, right? Because I think he was a year behind me. But
was he? I thought you and he were the same.
Sure.
Okay, well, I showed you what I know.
But we all remember 1986.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. I'm trying to find this. See if I can find this game. Mixtape Massacre.
Okay. Yep.
And so if you look at the box for Mixtape Massacre, it's very similar in terms of the same triangle. In fact, it's almost the same triangle and color scheme there. And so I was seeing this as, because in Mixtape Massacre, you're either there's
yep.
the game. One, you are the teenagers being stalked by the monster. One, you're
in 1986.
Exactly.
What the hell?
So you see why I thought this was like the last in the series.
Oh, yeah.
When I saw the graphic, I was like, oh, well, this is, I mean, it's got the same, you've got the sun and the triangle, you've got the bloodied moon and the triangle.
Oh, yeah.
I just assumed that this was the same series. So that was on me.
No, that's the same. Yep. Yeah.
So
but also 86. I mean, it could have been an not indescript, pick a random a year in the 80s,
sure.
But no,
Slasher movies
86.
were all over the 80s. I mean, Halloween was even pre-80s.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic.
That's why I went down. I just, you know what? Via design, we'll end this where we began. Via design, I judged the book by its cover, and then I judged poorly.
No. This was clearly when people want to have some sort of cheat code for the 1980s. This is what they do. They draw triangles and use neon colors
and watch Stranger Things.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Let's go to the mall today. That's How I Met Your Mother.
Oh yeah, and we go to the video. There's a video arcade mini game, so you have to spend money. You have to spend your coins to win in the video arcade, which feels spot on.
So in 1986, I worked at Camelot Music.
Okay.
Which was also had a video store.
Yep.
So, and it was the bane of my existence to do the video thing because you had to. This was when somebody would bring you the video empty box.
Oh, yeah.
And then you would go grab the video off the shelf and you would put the box there so you would know that is rented out. And then you always had to flip it back when the people checked their videos back in, and it was and then people did the late fees and all the other stuff and
unrewound. Yep. Be kind, rewind.
100%.
Yep.
So that was memories.
Yeah, so that's one to put on your radar there. Yet another. Yep. There's somebody could have like a mini collection of like games set in 1986. There's two at least.
Well, there's probably more that are set in 1986.
That's what I like. So,
but then you'd have to rock hard in 1977 and then jump up a decade.
Up to 86, yeah. And this is before we get into the 18XX games.
There you go.
A whole different, But no, I mean, it felt. It kind of did feel like rock hard in terms of you have to go do different things, and you have to do this morning, noon, and evening, and you have to go to work. So yeah.
Well, that sounds like a fun game to check out. So we'll be on looking out for it in the local game stores.
Or look for your copy if you kickstarted it.
Yeah, there's that. Last thing that showed up on my doorstep that was from Kickstarter was the Obsession Big Box expansion. So it is still in the other room with everything else that's been showing up for this construction project.
There it is.
No place to put it.
That's what the new room will be for. Then you can just put things.
No, my wife will.
Just randomly stack things.
I'm still trying to reimagine this room. I think what I'm going to have to do is ultimately just move my office somewhere else in the house.
That seems like a wise choice.
I just have to get one of the children out of here.
Yes. That would be good. Launch that one.
Yes, and we're in our 20s, so it's time.
It is. It's a good time to launch.
No. Anyway, I
digress. Yes. Before we head into therapy.
Before we head back into therapy, yes. Well, that's all I have this week.
That's all I got.
All right. Well, I promise you I'm going to get back to playing board games, and I'm also going to get these episodes out. I'm still the lazy podcaster. I have a few ideas on how I think I can streamline production. We may just give up the YouTube component and just go straight audio because I don't know if people really look at us. But
who would want to?
I mean, I'll always have the video from this, and so if the podcast will do video, it'll always be there. But I just don't think the traction and is worth the juice is worth the squeeze there. Particularly since the algorithm probably means nobody ever sees us.
Probably true.
That's a different episode altogether.
Indeed.
All right. Well, with that, I am Joe Mahaffey. I'm not bored, but I'm also not board gaming.
I'm sorry, man. I'm James Engelhart. But when you do get back to board gaming, I hope that all your tiebreakers break your way.
I do too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it as we head into summer. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you
See y'all.
soon.
In a world of cardboard.